Hey everyone, and welcome to Screams After Midnight. I am Pierre, and joining me as always is my co-host, Timmy.
We're gonna sing now, or what is this?
We can say a little bit.
Okay.
Do you want me to sing everything I say for the rest of this episode?
I don't think we've done any horror musicals yet, have we?
Goddamn right we haven't. Although, I have heard of, was it called Murder Rock? There's a Lucio Fulci movie, which is
Really?
kind of music themed. It's
Okay.
I say it's called Murder Rock, something like that. But we'll have to put that on the schedule at some point.
Okay. I
Just
don't
for the
think I've
fun.
ever heard of that. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, but hey, so this is Screams After Midnight. It's a horror movie podcast and a regular episode, of course. Every week we get together and talk about a horror film that we've watched, and we talk about it in depth as much as we'd like to, and that's typically what the show is. Maybe some horror movie news before it as well as a common thing now. But it is October, is the Octoberthon, and we're pumping out episodes every day. And one of the things that we've done this year that's new and different is every year we do like to do like a countdown where me and Tim will make up a top 50 list or something, and we'll reveal our picks. And we've done that. We did our top 50 worst horror movies, or least favorite, if that's maybe a better descriptor. What this is, though, this is a new thing, is we have let you, the people, vote on a list. So this is going to be part one of your top 50 horror movies. This is voted for by the viewers and listeners of Screams After Midnight. They sent in the submissions, they sent in their own top 50 lists, and movies got points. And this is the results. This is what the concluding list is. And Tim doesn't know what the winners are. I obviously do because I did all the calculations. But we're going to go through it, one by one. We'll reveal and we'll talk about if we think they're deserving, or they're too high, or they're too low, or all sorts of things. I will tell you before we start, though. I will say that, let me just choose what was the number. There was a total of 333 films that got points.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
a lot of movies.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah. So thanks to everyone who sent in a list and contributed towards this. You're about to either be very happy or very sad about what makes the list, and this will be part one. So this will be numbers 50 through 26. I did this recently for movies in general, and I had Tara on as the kind of the wingman, sort of reacting to the picks. And I said at the start of that, this will probably be two parts, but we'll see how long it takes. And by the time we'd done like 5 entries, it was very clear it was going to be 2 parts. So I'm not even going to joke around. This is definitely going to be 2 parts,
Sure.
because we're definitely going to talk about these a little bit as we go. So without further ado, we will start this off with number 50.
Okay.
Number 50. Return of the Living Dead.
Okay. It's a good pick. I like that movie.
I like it too. I mean, is it top 50 material? I don't know if I'd put it up in top 50, but it's very good. And
Yeah. I feel like I might like the sequel better. I don't think the sequel is necessarily a better movie, but I think I saw that more as a kid.
Tim, we're in sync here, because I also think I like part 2 better, even though no one else does. I've never met anyone else who does, but
People get mad at you like when you say that sometimes, and I'm not saying it's like, oh, it's so much better, but I don't know, like I feel like it was on so much as a kid that's just, when I think of Return of the Living Dead, I think of the sequel more. But these are very fun movies. It's a little bit more comedic than the the kind of the Romero films. But I like that. I like kind of having like different takes on different kind of zombie movies.
yeah.
And as always, really great special effects with these.
Honestly, I'd say it's more of a horror comedy, the first one. I think the sequels played it a bit more straight. I mean, they weren't super serious, but they played it more like just a horror movie, whereas I think the first one is more of a horror comedy. But so no, fine pick. Number 49.
Oh.
The Conjuring.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, it's a good movie. Well, I think, like, obviously, I'm assuming everything on here is probably gonna, not be stuff that I disagree with too much. It's just, I guess it's just interesting the placements where everything ends up.
Yeah, yeah. I am a Conjuring 2 over Conjuring 1 person, admittedly.
Yeah, yeah, I'd probably lean that way too a bit.
Yeah.
I think the first one's still good though.
Mm-hmm. The less said about the spin-offs, the better.
That's a big thing though. Like, does the after having to watch like your nuns, your Annabelles, your La Lloronas, does it give you maybe a little bit more of a sour taste when you have to go back and think about these?
I don't think so. I think these still exist on their own well
Okay.
enough.
Huh?
Maybe the second one will suffer more because that had like the nun like be a prominent thing kind of in the
Right.
middle of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh, it's interesting. But yes, Conjuring. James Wan, of course. Will he have more entries on this list? We'll find out. We'll find out. Will Wan win? Will we say Wan won?
Sure. It'll be interesting to see maybe when you do tallies, like which director had the most entries on the list, or which franchise had the most picks.
Or even
That stuff's always,
subgenre? Is there a lot of zombie movies? Is there a
yeah,
lot of vampire movies? Yeah.
yeah, that stuff's
Yeah.
always interesting to me.
Yeah. Of course it is.
Wait, you sound like that's like a bad thing.
Such a so. One day I'm going to find the perfect new co-host, and Tim will
Oh,
be
please do. Yeah.
Tim will be kicked to the curb.
You act like I wouldn't like rush out of here as soon as you say like, "Hey, I got someone new." I'm just like, boom, out the door. Cool.
I
Got
love
my
how
Sunday mornings back.
I
I
love
can
how
go to
after
church again.
I love how after doing 350, what you don't go to church again. I love how after doing 350 episodes, you still like to keep up this gag that you hate doing it, and you leave the first chance you get.
Yeah, gag, of course.
Number 48, House of the Devil.
Ooh, you know what? This one I will say too low on the list. This one needs to
Ah,
be higher. I absolutely love this movie. It's so goddamn good. Man, just like I don't think I've ever been more impressed with like a modern movie that felt like what's the word? Is it a
period,
anachronistic?
a period
Or
piece.
sure, yeah, like it's it feels like it's so straight out of the 70s. And I love everything about this. I love the main actress in it. I think is so good, and it just really creepy, tense movie with does a lot of fun things. I love it.
Talking about how it looks authentically from its time period, which is like the end of the 70s, start of the 80s, I
Yeah,
think what's interesting is that obviously we have period pieces that are set like hundreds of years ago or whatever, and with those we just kind of have to roll with the idea of like it looks what it looks like. But the funny thing is making stuff set in like the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, even 90s is that we made movies during that time. So not only do we have what the world looked like, but we also have an idea in our mind of what a movie from that time looks like. And I think this
yeah,
movie is one of the first movies from like a sort of modern era that I felt really captured what a movie from like 1980 looked like,
yeah.
and that was kind of cool. I love that a lot. So
Yeah. And it kind of sucks because this kind of like I think Ty West has done like other good movies, but he really hasn't had like another home run. I feel like
yeah,
this is just so good, and I liked like I like Innkeepers, and The Sacrament was good. Not really a horror movie, but In the Valley of Violence I like, but like yeah, just like nothing has really just knocked it out of the park like this.
yeah. No, it's definitely his best movie. I mean, I've only seen this in Innkeepers, I think, but
Mm.
I definitely like this more than Innkeepers. Sure. Actually, here's an interesting question. Will there be anything on this list that either of us haven't seen?
Ooh, you want to make a bet? I would be interested if that happens. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. And if there isn't, then I guess we're more horror experts than our audience are, because
Oh, for sure.
they voted for all this, and if they couldn't
Yeah.
think of anything that we hadn't seen that made the list, then clearly we know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Number 47 is Friday the 13th Part 4, The Final Chapter.
That's a good one. I think This might be a little controversial to say, but I think that's when Friday the 13th starts getting good. Like
Two
I'm
and
not
three
crazy,
are
but
2 and 3 are good. Come on, Tim. Come
I,
on.
I think they're fine. I wouldn't say they really rock my boat that much. Like
Okay.
they're okay. They're not bad, but like 4 is when it really starts to like take notice for me. Like that's when I am really getting into the
I mean,
series.
I like 4 more than 3. It's interesting because I do actually think it's a better Friday the 13th movie 4
Mhm.
than 2,
Sure. Yeah.
but I think 2 actually may be the better horror movie, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Um,
Well, I think that's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I think go.
Oh, well, I think that's the thing that's hard with the Friday the 13th movies is I feel like I have such an expectation of them. Like there is a certain way that Jason behaves and acts that, um, yeah, like number 2 and I think to an extent 3. I think 3 he's still not completely the Jason that I like think of. Um, but like yeah, those might be better made movies, but it's not what I think of when I think of the Friday the 13th.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. No, I like part 4 a lot. I think it has some cool kills. I think Jason looks the best he has so far in this movie, for sure. All the clothes being kind of sort of like wrecked and wet, and you got young Corey Feldman, you got Crispin Glover dancing. It's a very notable one. Some good kills in it as well. So I don't know. I'm not going to reveal if there's any more Friday the 13th movies on this list, but if this is the only one that makes it, I'm not mad because this is one of the best ones, I think. Some people prefer 6, some people love whatever. We're both advocates for Jason Takes Manhattan,
Yeah.
as we should be.
Yeah.
So, number 46 is Rosemary's Baby.
Oh, nice. I just finished reading the book. Yeah, it is a little weird, thinking about the movie now, given what we know about Roman Polanski. But I mean, if you can set that stuff aside, it is a really well made movie. Yeah, easy. Pretty. It's a good story. Yeah, it really does a good job of like, uh, having that paranoia feeling, or just feeling like stuff is wrong and people are against you, and even though like so many people are telling you like, oh no, you're crazy, and but no, it has a really nice payoff. So yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, it's well made. I don't love it though. Like Rosemary's Baby's one that I wouldn't put in my top 50 for sure. I think if I'm picking again, Polanski's not a director that I don't really seek out his movies anymore just because of who he is. But
Obviously, yeah.
of the ones I have seen, the one that I actually really liked was Repulsion.
Okay.
Over Rosemary's Baby. Wasn't that keen? Obviously not a horror movie, but I wasn't that keen in Chinatown, for example.
Never actually seen it. I haven't seen too many stuff of his.
Yeah, it's maybe this big classic. Everyone likes to quote it and whatnot, but I don't know. Bored the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, Rosemary's Baby. I mean, I get why people like it. I get why it's got its following, but it's not necessarily my my favorite. Number 45 is Pontypool.
Oh, cool. That's a fun one. Did we do that for the show or?
We haven't, no.
Oh, okay. Have you seen it?
I have seen it. I have it on Blu-ray, in fact. Yeah, that's what's kind of surprising, actually. I wasn't expecting this on the top 50.
Yeah, I wouldn't have expected it either. I feel like I have to watch it again in order to get like a ranking of like where it falls on my like all time list or whatever. But I remember when I watched it, I thought it was really cool. Like a very interesting, unique premise. Yeah, it's cool.
I like the setting. I like it being set in a radio booth, and we just hear things coming in over the radio. We don't, from the callers calling into his show. It's very much. I mean, you could easily do this as a radio drama. You could literally make this a radio drama because it's all kind of through a dialogue, for the most part. But no, real good. Yeah. Again, maybe a bit high for my blood, but another recent film. Next, number 44 is 2015's Creep.
Oh, great.
Which I'm specifying because it was a British movie in like 2005 or something like that. So yeah, Creep with Mark Duplass, the found footage. Pleasant surprise, I think I'd have called that at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. This was one that kind of feels like it came out of nowhere, and from people that you wouldn't really expect. Like, Mark Duplass is kind of known for that mumblecore, kind of indie movies, and yeah, no, this is like a really good, surprisingly found footage horror movie. Yeah, interesting to see what they're gonna do with the third one.
I think it's weird that Mark Duplass and his brothers never started like a plastic company, because they could be like, they'd be Duplass, we do plastics.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe another multiverse. Maybe that company is running strong.
Another multiverse?
Yeah. Yeah, into multiverses.
I mean, I like multiverses, but like, wouldn't it be a different Earth in our multiverse? You know, from the classic film Wish Upon, using the word classic very loosely there. So loose, in fact, that it's lost all meaning. Nah, Creep is good. Creep is got some surprisingly very tense and I hate to use the word, but creepy moments. Peach Fuzz is very memorable as a concept, and there's only one scene in the whole movie where I was kind of calling bullshit on the camera being turned on. So, which for a found footage movie is good.
Yeah.
Because that's normally a concern through like half the movie. Usually the back half was like, why are they still filming? Just run for your life, you idiots. Like, move. So, yeah, that was Creep at number 44. Number 43 is Carrie.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we just did that recently.
Yep, that was the last. Well, no, it was the second last thing before the October Sun.
Yeah, it's one I feel like I don't think of, that often when I'm thinking of like, classics or like Stephen King movies. But every time I watch it, I'm always surprised as like, oh yeah, this is really good. Like, yeah, I feel like it definitely stand the test of time, and like so many memorable lines and instances, and like, yeah, all the people are really good in it. It definitely deserves to be on the list.
I don't think I put that in my top 100. Obviously, there'll be some newer movies that I wouldn't have done just because they didn't exist yet. But when we did our top 100 a couple of years ago, I don't think I had Carrie on my top 100, but I probably would put it on there now. I think revisiting it, I've regained some appreciation that maybe was lost in time, or maybe I just was too young the last time I watched it. I don't know, but
totally,
definitely some good filmmaking in there, and performances, and yeah. So no, Carrie, the time-honored tale of menstruation and the violence that can follow. Because I don't know if you're aware of this, Tim, but like every young woman, like when they start menstruating, there is a chance they're going to be violent psychopaths and like kill everyone. Like they all go through that struggle, and they kind of overcome it, and that's why women should be respected as being very strong, because all of them have resisted the urge to murder everyone. All of them.
Oh, of course.
Every single one of them.
I'm not sure where it's from, but I feel like recently I keep seeing like this meme being passed around where someone is asking someone like, "Oh, what's your favorite period movie?" and the person says Carrie. Which, it's a funny joke.
That's okay. That's okay. Anyway. What have you got for first period? Vaginal discharge. That's basically the same joke. All right. Number 42 is the Blair Witch Project.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I think I've gone on record before as not being like super crazy about this movie. I feel like I respect it more for kind of what it does than actually when I'm watching it. I'll say when I watch, I get like kind of bored. But I mean, can't deny that it didn't like do something really unique and different at a time, and kind of ushered in this like whole new like subgenre of horror, the found footage stuff. So
this is another one, actually. I mean, I like Carrie more than I'd like this before, but this was another one where I remember I didn't really like it the first time I saw it, and watching it again for the show last year, 2017 maybe.
It probably would have been when the new one came out.
Yeah, was that last year or the year before? I can't remember. Too many
it would have
movies.
been 17, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
But watching it again for the show, I was like, "Hey, this is actually kind of amazing! Like this is really inventive little stuff. To you get no money, you just make it work based on some tone and some creepiness, and
Yeah.
like I think it's very effective in what it does. I think having sequels at all is a stupid idea. Really, neither of them really worked or were able to live up to it. I think it's such a one and done idea in terms of like, because it's sort of thing where it's such a mystery. Exploring it anymore at all takes away from the mystery, and it makes whatever that sequel is less effective. It doesn't affect the first one because you can just watch the first one and just have that in your mind and nothing else. But it does mean that any sequel that tries to do Blair Witch 2 or the Blair Witch movie later, if you try and explain it anymore, any way, shape, or form, it just loses what made the first one good. So. Restraint,
and it's hard to go back into that specific time before it came out, but I loved like the commitment when it came out, where like they had websites like talking about it, and I think there were people that were legitimately like, oh, is this real, like is this like a real thing, like so yeah, there's like a lot of like cool extra stuff like that too, like when it first came out, that was fun.
Yeah. So number 41.
Oh wait, actually, sorry, real quick before we tangent away from that, have you played the new game at all, or will you? Or
I have not played the new game. I have no strong urge to do it, but I'm not going to say never. Like when it's cheap or offered to me free on like a subscription service, I think I'll probably try it.
Yeah, I would definitely like to try it. Fortunately, I don't know if it's forever stuck on Xbox, but
Oh right, yeah.
Probably won't play it unless it gets to PlayStation or Switch or something. But I am interested in it.
It is on PC because I don't have an Xbox either. But all their games always go to PC as well now, so that's beneficial to me. But yeah, so number 41 is Aliens.
Oh, okay.
Which is interesting because I would never have put that on my list just because I don't necessarily consider this one. I mean, there's horror elements, don't get me wrong. It's not like no horror, but I don't typically throw it in a horror list because I think that it's too far away from it at that point. But obviously, some people thought it was horror, and not enough. Because this is the thing: if you were doing just best movies, I feel like Aliens would be much higher than this. But obviously, some people thought it counted as horror, put it in their list, and some people didn't. And that didn't basically meant that it didn't get super high, but obviously still enough to get here at number 41. So it's a fantastic movie. I ain't going to complain about giving Aliens some props.
And it is weird because, like, I would consider the first one a horror movie.
Oh, absolutely.
But then it's like, yeah, this one, not really. I mean, both obviously fantastic movies, but yeah, it is weird. Sometimes just like the. Kind of the feeling you get from like one movie or another.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but yeah, Aliens is a masterpiece. I ain't going to complain about people giving it props. Like, sure, no complaints from me. So, number 40 though is the original Evil Dead.
Oh, nice. Yeah, seminal movie. Yeah, hard to complain about that. Yeah, there's another one too where I feel like sometimes you kind of forget how good it is because Evil Dead 2 is such a masterpiece, and when you think of the classic Evil Dead bits, a lot of times you're probably thinking of stuff from that or Army of Darkness or whatever. But the first one is still really solid movie, and again, I love the idea of like these kind of like young kids just going out into the middle of the woods and like making this like movie for really cheap, but like still making something so compelling and effective. It's really great.
Yeah, it's definitely the creepiest of the originals because it wasn't much of a comedy yet.
Yeah.
So it's funny watching it because obviously Bruce Campbell's there, but he's not really Ash in the first one. Like he's not Ash. Like he's not
Totally. Yeah.
Fistful of boomstick or whatever. Like he's not.
Yeah.
He's not saying groovy. He's not doing all these things. Which I think is why it ends up being a bit lower for people compared to the sequels, because the sequels are where now it's kind of like Friday the 13th. He didn't really become Evil Dead till Evil Dead 2 in a bizarre way. So that's cool. That's cool. Number 39 is The Fly, as in 1986, David Cronenberg, The Fly.
I've had like a big hankering to rewatch this recently, and I think I was planning on doing it, and then I saw that Scream Factory is planning on putting out like a big box collection that has all the Fly movies. So I was like, I do think I kind of want to get that. So I've been putting off on waiting until I rewatch that. I think I've only seen it once, maybe twice, like way back in the day. But I definitely remember liking it. Obviously, Cronenberg, usually in pretty good hands with him, and yeah, Jeff Goldblum's great, and Gina Gershon rules. So yeah, definitely.
I think you mean I think you mean Gina Davis there, Timmy.
Oh, sorry, Gina Davis. Yes.
Yeah,
I told you it's been a while.
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum's great. Obviously, this is actually a funny one where like I think this one's probably more horror, but I would consider the franchise as a whole to be more of a sci-fi franchise.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, and, I mean, like, I feel like a lot of sci-fi and horror are very closely related. Like it feels like a lot of sci-fi stuff you could also label horror, but there's a lot of horror stuff you can't label sci-fi. But like, yeah, I mean, this is one. Yeah, I guess especially if you're gonna like talk about body horror, it really fits well.
Oh sure, yeah,
into that category.
It does seem like the sort of thing that will more likely be on the Ace though, because we'll probably just do that franchise as a whole at some point on there. But classic Vincent Price and whatnot.
Yeah, less work for me is fine.
Oh dear. But you feel kind of sleazy watching this movie, and not in that artificial Rob Zombie way. Like it feels kind of sleazy in a sort of body horror kind of way. It works. Yeah. It's really effective. So there you go. Number 38 is one that we have covered. It's very light on the horror, admittedly, but we covered it, so I guess it definitely counts. And that is Gremlins.
Oh yeah. Again, especially the first one, I guess is more of a horror movie, but it does feel like more comedic to me. But I totally get it. Like, it's definitely like a super fun movie though, for sure.
Dan 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 dan.
Yeah, that is the music.
Classic theme tune. Classic theme tune. There's Gremlins, the Dead Santa story, and Chimney. So
sure.
Wonderful time. That story confirms that was not meant for kids. That movie. That was no. That's is
true.
Clearly an R-rated movie or at least PG-13 maybe. But yes, if you brought a young kid to that, it's on you for the Santa nightmares that came after, and you can heed the warning. Anyway, I'm only about 35 years too late. Next up, number 37. Kind of coming a bit more recent again, the Babadook.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I only saw this once, and to be honest, I wasn't that crazy about it. We didn't do it on the show, did we?
I don't think so. No, this predates the show.
Okay, so maybe when I watch it again, I'll be a little more hot on it. I just honestly, the biggest thing I remember from when I first watched it was being really annoyed by the kid.
He was annoying. I remember just the craft of how the movie was put together working for me the more it went on. I did have a little bit of a problem with the ending from what I recall. It is probably one that's worth a rewatch though, and sort of revisiting to see how it holds up now. And queer icon, the Babadook.
Of course, yeah.
We have to mention his popularity with the LGBTQ society, because Netflix, and if you don't know this story, Netflix incorrectly put it in the sort of like, because Netflix will suggest like this is the horror row, this is it, but sometimes they get more specific. Sometimes it'll be like, here's the girl power row or whatever. There was one that was like, here's the queer sort of movie section, and they put the Babadook in there, and there's nothing in the Babadook that is remotely queer. And basically on social media, a bunch of people just sort of like embraced it and started treating the Babadook like a gay icon, and that's pretty funny. So
that was great. A lot of funny jokes from that.
Yeah, so fun bit there. Plus, this is like an Australian film, right?
Yes, I believe so.
I recall the accents being, because the kid's particularly annoying because he's shouting in an accent the whole time. Anyway, that's number 37. Number 36 is Rec. Record. R-E-C, however you want to pronounce the bloody thing.
Yeah.
Spain's on the board. Spain's on the board. I just wanted to...
Oh yeah, is that the first foreign? Well, I guess unless you count Babadook.
Yeah, is it the first? It's the first subtitle thing for sure. Yeah.
I was gonna say another one that we did recently, but did we do it last year?
It was November. We did Rec last November.
Okay, so yeah, time flies. I guess not so recently, but it still holds up. Really great.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, we do plan doing the sequels. We just have so many franchises going that we've been putting it off a little bit. Once we've wrapped a few other sequels up, we'll swing back around to it. But no, Rec's great. Rec was such a pleasant thing for me. I saw the second one in theaters. Luckily, I had the chance to do that. But the first one, like it was just this kind of thing. I heard it was good. I got access to it, put it on, and I had fun for the first chunk of the movie. Like, it was really visceral for a lot of the movie, but that last 5-10 minutes just completely blows the door open and what it can be, and kind of the creepiness of it. And it was a different twist in the zombie formula. It was a different twist in the found footage formula, and it was a different twist in the zombie formula, and it resulted in a pretty fun overall movie. So much like vampires, for some reason all the best zombie movies in the last decade or so are all from other countries. Train to Busan and Rec for zombies. Vampires, it's Let the Right One In, and Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. Although I did see a good one this month from the US, which was really, really good. So.
Oh, right. Yeah.
The Transfiguration, in case anyone's curious. But yeah, so Rec, number 36. Number 35 is the 1979 Nosferatu. Werner Herzog, Klaus Kinski. So Germany's on the board.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Oh, it's fantastic, because we did this for Oktoberthon either last year or the year before. I don't know which one, but we did it for one of those. It was one of those Oktoberthons. Because I really wanted to do it because I love this movie. It's one of my favorite vampire movies. Speaking of good vampire movies, Klaus Kinski is such a different version of Dracula. It has such a sort of foreboding tone the entire time, like nature and the dark forces within are coming for everyone, and there's no hope. Kind of, it has that feeling. It feels so different from other horror movies.
Yeah. I don't know. I agree. It is very well done. I don't have a ton to say about it, but very good movie.
This is why I've got Tim on the show, just so that after I say something, go, "Yep, I agree."
It's always harder to talk about the good movies than the bad ones.
Oh, we should have had them voting worst movies, is what you're saying.
Next year. See what the people really hate.
Was that your roadie from Iron Man? The next time.
Oh yeah.
Next time. All right. Number 34 is The Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Again, I guess it's a matter of perspective. Like, I wouldn't probably think to put it on a list, even though obviously very horrific things are happening in it. But yeah, I don't know. It feels more like a procedural thriller kind of movie, I guess, or whatever. But
yeah, obviously, there's some notable scenes in it that are very horror-esque. I would also agree it's more of a thriller, like an FBI thriller kind of thing. But obviously, a lot of people. Obviously, it's a great movie, and a lot of people did consider it horror, so it ended up here. So
it is fantastic, and I feel like I rewatched it recently because I got in the Criterion Blu-ray when it came out, which I think was earlier this year. I think it was like around March or so, but unless it was last year again, I might just be time might just be flying. Actually, yeah, it might have been last year. Because I feel like I got it when I still was at my old apartment. But either way, when I rewatched it, it still holds up really well.
I do me. Would you do me? It puts the lotion in the basket. Some Buffalo Bill choice quotes for you all at home. You're welcome. Number 33. And honestly, this is the first one where I'm just going to say it. This is far too low. Hellraiser.
Ooh, yeah, that's
Needs to be up.
yeah, and again, I mean, I feel like I said it a couple of times now, but this is another one where like I liked it growing up, but I was never like a huge like Hellraiser fan, and it is one of those ones that I find myself like rewatching like a couple of times like over the last couple of years, and every time I rewatch it, it's like, yeah, this is fantastic. Oh, like this is such a good.
It's unique. It's a very unique movie.
Yeah, and like it's weird because like even though there are a ton of sequels, it feels like such a good one and done movie. Like,
Oh, absolutely. Honestly, like because one of the reasons why the sequels aren't as good, beyond just obviously the quality dipping, is the first movie is just so unique in its concept and the way it plays out. Like it doesn't play like any other type of horror subgenre at all. It's completely its own thing, which is part of why. And obviously, you got good music. You got the Cenobites. You got Pinhead. It's good. Dastardly characters doing dastardly things.
Yeah, it's like it does feel like very like sleazy, but in like again, not in an annoying like I don't want to watch this way, but in a very like interesting,
Yeah,
way.
and a very this is how Tim spends his Tuesday nights kind of way. Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
gets the leather on and goes to the heavy dance club.
The heavy dance club.
Yeah, they get techno. So
sure.
The techno and I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't know what the kids are listening to these days.
Our podcast probably.
Hopefully. Hopefully.
They go to nightclubs and just play it.
I imagine Tim walking into a club with like the dominatrix like Cenobite outfit on and just like Marilyn Manson playing over the car, like, beautiful people, the beautiful people. Dun, 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 dun.
I've been terrified ever since the first Blade movie. Never set foot in a nightclub.
Number 32. You're next.
Ooh, that's a good one. This is one I've been wanting to revisit because I haven't watched it in a couple of years. But man, this is just so much fun. The kills are really great. It's I guess you probably wouldn't call it a comedy, but there's like some really funny parts in here.
There's a couple of funny beats. This was I mean I've told this because when we did this in the show a few years ago, I'm sure I told this story, but I did not like the trailers for this movie, and I went to see it because I had to kill time. I was in the city. I had to kill time. I was like, oh well, we'll go see this year next. It'll probably suck, but whatever. And it was great. It was like I say, good kills. It had this great premise where the lead, the final girl, if you want to call her that, is actually very capable and knows how to defend herself. And as soon as like shit hits the fan and all these bad guys start showing up, she starts taking them out left and right, and it's so exciting and invigorating. It's a blast of a movie. It really is.
Yeah, definitely well deserved to be on the list. Who knows? Maybe it could have even been a little higher, but it's just such a fun time.
Well, we'll see if there's anything above this you'd want to move below it. But no. So now your next is a great pick. I am very impressed with our audience.
Yeah, good job
for this selection. Yes. No shock pick shit. I feel like there was a couple on the all-time one, like the the like movies in general list, where there was some critiques lobbied against the list by a certain Tara about people just buttering up to my taste. Complete nonsense, Tim. Complete nonsense. But number 31, I got confused there for a second. Nosferatu, the original 1920s. The original? Yeah.
Okay.
I got confused because I thought it was a duplicate there. I was like, that doesn't make sense. How can there be a duplicate? But yes, I actually prefer the 79 one, admittedly, but obviously this is a classic and paved the way for a lot of horror. Fantastic use of shadows, maybe even the first movie to use shadows as much as this did, and effectively.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not sure if I've seen the original.
Ooh.
I could be wrong. Obviously, the Herzog one stands out more in my mind. I've seen In the Shadow of the Vampire. which is a good movie about like the making of that movie. But yeah, I don't know if I've actually seen this one.
Oh dear. No, I mean it's a classic for a reason, and it's well worth going back and checking out for cinema history reasons, if nothing else. But I do prefer the '79 one. I like Herzog's one more.
Like, I feel like I've definitely seen like kind of like the images of it, like you're talking about, like the shadows and stuff like that creeping up. Like I definitely, like have seen that before. And interesting, like story behind it. Like is basically, they just did this because they couldn't get the rights to Dracula, which is like funny because it's like Dracula's such like a public domain thing nowadays.
Yeah. That's why in the original he's called Count Orlok or something like that, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Whereas in Herzog's movie he's called Count Dracula because by that point hey, it's free. You can use it much you want. We could make a Dracula movie, Tim.
Ooh, that's not a bad idea.
You'll make one next week, like Dracula After Midnight.
Hey, that doesn't sound too bad.
Yes. I never drink wine.
Dr. Pepper.
Well, that too. Wait. That was a reference to like a movie review we just did that will not be connected to this in any way, shape, or form. You just referenced a joke we did in a different recording. God damn it, Tim.
Well, you know what that means? People just have to listen to everything. if they want to get these quality jokes, they gotta take it all in. I mean, I'm sorry if you don't want people to listen to every episode, but
I do. Of course,
I think they should. Okay, well,
I don't know. I'm sure there's a way to turn that never drink wine joke into something to do with semen for the porn parody. I never drink wine. Wink, wink. Wink, wink. I can't wink. For the record. So if you're watching the video version, you looked at me try to wink there. I can't physically wink. I can't do it without shutting the other eye. I know. It's weird. Just go with it. Let's go with it. You've learned something today. Moving on. This is what a weird one to be next. Number 30 is Dracula, 1931.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Very fun movie. Trying to think of where I put it in my like universal rankings. It's not my absolute favorite, but it's definitely up there. It still holds up. A lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, Bela Lugosi. I just quoted it in the last one because it was relevant. I was even thinking about what the next one was. No, I mean it's a very very simple movie in terms of how it's shot, but Bela Lugosi kind of elevates it, and it's I think it's one of the better Universal monster movies from that batch. Not my favorite, but one of the better ones.
Do you see there's I forget what company it is, but there is a comic book that's coming out that is an adaptation of Dracula, like that's going to be a very like I think very like book accurate adaptation, but they are using the likeness of Bela Lugosi, so it's going to look like him from Dracula, so it's going to be pretty cool.
That's kind of neat. I wonder, I assume there's some family members you have to get the rights from to do that, or permission.
Probably. Yeah, I'm sure there's something that they have to go through, but yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So yeah, Dracula, number 30. Sorry.
So far, I would say like vampires seem to be leading the way.
Oh yeah, well we've had 2 Nosferatus and a Dracula. Do we have any other ones? No, just 3. But we've had at least 2 zombies because we had Return of the Living Dead and we had Wreck. Yes. Okay, just keeping track. Number 29 is Eyes Without a Face.
Oh yeah, we did that.
No, we didn't.
Right? Did it?
No, we didn't.
Oh.
We should because it's a fantastic movie and I'm glad it's here, but we have never done this in the show.
What am I thinking of? We did
Eyes of My Mother?
No. We did some movie.
We did do a movie called The Eyes of My Mother, but I mean, I don't know what else you could be thinking of. Was there another French black and white movie from the 60s that sprang into mind?
No, I don't know. I can't think of it. I might have seen this. I don't remember.
Oh, one that Tim's maybe not seen. Oh. Who's the professor now, dog?
Still me.
This gap is too great. This gap in your filmography. Can't be having it.
No, I'm sure this movie sucks. I don't know.
This movie's great. It's about a scientist who's trying to, like, basically, he's kidnapping a woman so that he can steal their faces for his daughter who needs a new face because she was in an accident. Super creepy, lots of great black and white imagery. I thoroughly recommend it. Criterion have put it out, and go for it.
Yeah, are you sure we didn't do this for the show? Because it sounds so familiar. I feel like we did it.
We didn't.
Okay. I must have seen it then, because that is ringing a lot of bells.
All right. Okay.
Or what was the never mind. Don't even worry about it. Let's just go on.
Go on. What were you going to say? What movie are you thinking of?
Well, I know it's completely different, but what was the movie that was like? I want to say it was from Spain. Was it someone gets an eye transplant, or
you're thinking of Julia's Eyes?
Maybe.
Well, so what's funny about that, Tim, is we've not done that either. So
who am I watching these movies with?
I don't know. Right. Who are you watching these movies with? What's his name? Who is this bitch?
Wait, is that my other podcast? Yeah.
What?
Mm.
You cheating scumbag.
I feel like maybe, was there an October-thon where maybe that was like one of the entries or whatever you wanted people to watch? Maybe I watched it then.
Maybe. Oh dear. We'll definitely do it in the show at some point now, because it's fantastic. Number 28 is Frankenstein.
The original, I assume?
Yes, 1931, yes. Same year as Dracula, with Boris Karloff.
Yeah, I think of the Universal Monster movies, I think did we do Dracula?
Nope.
No? Okay.
What we're learning this episode is that Tim keeps thinking we've done all these other movies that we've never done.
I know, well, obviously I've seen Dracula, but so what have we done then for Universal? Frankenstein and the Mummy? That's it?
Just those two, yeah. And me and Tower did Invisible Man on Ace, because that's more of a sci-fi movie. But
okay. No, I mean, yeah, Frankenstein's great. I really love it. Yeah, he's a very enduring character. So many good Frankenstein comics.
Hey Tim, did you know that Frankenstein is not the name of the monster? That's actually just the doctor.
I know, but people are so stupid or so annoying when they say that. Like, everyone knows that it's not a thing. I do like I don't know if you ever seen that joke where like someone takes the last page of Frankenstein and like whatever like the last words are in it. And then someone just scribbles in and oh yeah, if you want to call my creation Frankenstein too, that's fine. It's a funny meme that went around for a while.
It makes sense he'd be named after the guy who created them.
Well, I mean, that's the other thing too. If he is supposed to be like kind of like a son in a way, which I guess he kind of is, then he would be called Frankenstein as well. So. Also,
the way I heard that when you said that joke there about if you can call my creation Frankenstein too, I heard that as Frankenstein and the number 2.
The number 2. I have to find that meme. It was a funny meme, but I don't know if it was a super popular one.
They missed the trick calling the next one Bride of Frankenstein. It should have been Frankenstein 2. Frankenstein 2, Frankenstein Harder.
Frank Harder, yeah.
Frank Harder. Frankenstein 2, Frankensteiner.
Yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm. But hey, I mean, if I'm reading a DC comic and it's called Frankenstein, then let's just call this guy Frankenstein.
No, Frankenstein's very good. It is probably better than Dracula, although I think that my mood might sometimes veer towards Dracula, but I think Frankenstein is again one of the better of those Universal monsters. Invisible Man's my favorite, for the record, but Frankenstein's very good. Number 27, The Omen.
Oh, okay.
The original, obviously. Like, I have to say this for like tons of these at this point now because there's so many remakes. But
yeah, I'm trying to think of how many Omen movies I've seen. I've definitely seen the first one, obviously. I don't know if I've seen that many of the sequels though.
I'm trying to remember if it was either 3 or 4, then the remake.
Yeah.
I want to say I guess 3 because I think it's a trilogy box set that was out.
Yeah.
I don't think it was maybe there was a 4th one.
I was tempted to get it just because you know me, I like a good box set. But
I actually had the Omen box set on Blu-ray, and I realized that I didn't like the sequels enough to give a shit about them, so I just sold it and bought the first one on its own because I was like, I'll make a little bit of money and just have the first one. It's fine.
Yeah, not a bad idea. No, the first one is good though. Obviously, my cat is named Damien, so yeah, there's a good number of times where I'll just say like, look at me, Damien, it's all for you. So that's always fun.
There was a running gag on a British sitcom called Only Fools and Horses, where the main character called his son Damien, and the guy's brother, every time you looked at him, you'd get the close up of the eyes, he'd be like, and he would basically think his son was evil. It was a fun running gag.
It pretty much has like ruined the name. I do think Damien is a cool name, but like it's hard to like obviously there's a Damian Wayne now, but I think most people still kind of associate it with the devil.
Sure. It was a good movie though, a lot of fun set pieces. Funnily enough, that it comes from the director Richard Donner, who went on to do Superman and the Goonies and the Lethal Weapon movies, and so happy to see that crazy guy got a career. But no, like a lot.
Is that his first movie? I didn't even realize that.
Oh, I think it is.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
That's cool. Which does take us out at number 26, the final entry for this this part, and that is Nightmare on Elm Street 3: The Dream Warriors.
Very nice. That will be a good one to end on. Jesus, what a great movie.
Phenomenal. It's one of the best sequels as well, just in general. Never mind horror movies.
Oh sure, yeah. Because it actually does something like different, like, but also it doesn't feel like that much of like a stray from what you think of when you think of like the Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh sure, it makes a nice, because what it does is it takes it to a natural kind of like a conclusion, because it kind of ends the series, and then obviously they just kind of retcon it to make more, but like it takes it to its natural next step where, okay, we've set up this premise in the first movie about this guy kills people in their dreams, most of the kids die. Okay, but what if a bunch of them are aware of it, get together and try and fight back? Like, it plays with the concept from the first movie in a way that really makes sense, doesn't feel like it betrays what the franchise is, but it does do new things, does interesting things. And yeah, honestly, like, you can just watch 1 and 3 and you got a complete story, and you can just never look back, basically. Not that you have to skip 2. 2 is a fine little movie on its own. It doesn't really feel that relevant to the other 2. So no, I love Dream Warriors. It's my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Yeah,
there's just so much fun stuff in it, and the idea of fighting back, but again, it's in such a fun way. It's not like I'm gonna fight back and like punch you. It's like, oh no, everyone has like very special, like unique like powers and things that they can do, and they're all like very likable characters, and it's just a ton of fun.
Plus, welcome to prime time, bitch.
Yep.
Was that line? So there you go. That's number 26. That is the first half of the top 50 horror movies of all time, as voted for by you guys. So we'll be back later in the week, next week. I don't know. I don't have a schedule in front of me to know when this and then the next one's going up. But before the end of October, as part of the October-thon. So look forward to that and see what the top 25 are. Hold off your list in the comments if you want to reveal them. You can do that in the final part. But you can, of course, like and subscribe and ding the bell and make sure you get notifications on YouTube. You can support us by going over to Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcast from and rating us 5 stars. It lets them recommend us out a little bit more. You can, of course, also do it financially by going to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV and supporting us for as little as $1 per month. And for that $1, you get an exclusive extra episode every month. For October, you're getting 4 extras, but for even the regular ones, you get 1 extra every month. And the higher tiers, you get to vote and do other things as well. So go and have a look and see if you want to support the show and make sure all the content keeps coming. And especially as a thank you for 31 episodes in 31 days. Yeah. Well, actually, I tell a lie. 32 episodes in 31 days. And Tim's got himself to blame. So you can go.
Hey, I don't mind it when it's a movie as good as what we're doing, which I assume is going to be in the top 10, but we'll see.
You're expecting Leprechaun 3 to be in the top 10?
Of course. I mean, since we already passed like the first 25, it's obviously not there. And so, yeah, I'm assuming it'll probably be a little bit higher.
How many of the Leprechaun franchise are you expecting to appear in the top 25?
Well, obviously it's not going to be every one. So, probably just 4 or 5.
Oh, excellent. But yes, go follow us on Twitter at Screams Midnight as well. You can get us on there for updates, maybe a little bit of news, mostly just me and Tim making fun of each other via the Screams Tour. So go do that. It's good fun. But that is us. So check out all the content that we have, of course, Sci-Fi Movie Podcast, the Atomic Cinema Experiment, the Ace. You can check that out. Similar to this, but with sci-fi movies. Check out the Comic Books Podcast, DC Comics Podcast called Comics from the Multiverse if you're into comics. Me, Matt, and Connor are all on that. Tim's not there. Tim's too busy reading Marvel and Hellboy to be reading all those DC books. But that is
I'm too busy creating some of the best comic books people will ever read.
Don't set anyone's expectations too high, Tim. Joe, you reminded me of? You reminded me of that guy. I don't know if you even seen this, but it was the Game Awards, not the last one, but the one before it, where the guy who made A Way Out was drunk, and they were interviewing him on the Game Awards. And he was like saying, F the Oscars, this is the real shit right here. And like everyone thought it was hilarious. But he eventually, one of the things he says, like, yes, I'm here to promote my game. He's like French, which is why I'm doing kind of a shitty accent. I'm here to promote my game. It is the best. If you buy it, you will not be disappointed. It is the best. You will love it. It's guaranteed. Like, you don't say these things. If you're selling someone something, you don't say these things.
I mean, I do agree. Like, yeah, you shouldn't hype it up too much, but I don't know. In my case, I do feel like it's true. Like, I think everyone who's ever read it has said it's literally the best thing they've ever read. So, I mean, I'm not a liar, and I don't want to call other people liars. So, there you go.
I'll call them liars. I'll call them liars. But yes, Tim writes Goatman amongst other comics. You can message him if you want to purchase them and pay for postage.
Yes, please. Although it's taken a while, but I will have some other ways to buy it. Hopefully soon. Hopefully by the time this comes out. But
whoa,
it's coming.
It's coming. But that is us. That has been Screams After Midnight. So hopefully you've enjoyed the first half of this countdown. We'll see you for numbers 25 through number 1 in a few days to a week's time, whatever it happens to be. There's actually a set time for it. I just don't have the schedule in front of me. So, but look forward to that. But that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching scary movies, guys. And we will see you next time.